Hey guys, we are currently living on board our boat in Italy. We've been pretty much cooking. Guys, this is so romantic. Sleeping and working remotely and exploring some of the most beautiful seaside towns in Europe. All while living on the Mediterranean Sea for the last month.
Some bad looking weather up ahead.
But on this episode, there's some pretty brutal weather coming. I'm calling that red section of wind there the monster Mistral. So on this episode, we're attempting to escape its path by sailing from Sardinia, Italy, all the way to France. Hoping to dodge that weather, we will then take you into the heart of Menton and then Monte Carlo. But time is ticking. Just getting prepared for what is to come.
People are going to think we've robbed a bank.
Kristina!
Yeah.
Now, this is the first time we're sailing in this region, and we're on a brand new Jeanneau Yachts 55. It's going to take us
1.44 days
to get there. And right now we are completely exposed. But despite this weather forecast, we think we can beat it. So John just put out the code 0. As you can see, we are departing Sardinia and we are making our way to France. We've got this beautiful weather window to make our way up there. If we were to wait, we would be copping 4-meter seas, be having to motor the whole time into wind. So we're taking this opportunity. We're going to cut our losses, but also make our way to the beautiful French Riviera. So we're going to have about 3 weeks there, which is going to be really amazing. And I think the first stop is going to be around Monaco. Thank you so much. Wow. And we should be arriving tomorrow evening at this stage, but we could be arriving the following morning depending on the winds and if we're lucky or not. So we're using Predict Wind to forecast this passage between Corsica and France. All going to plan, we should expect 8 to 15 knot winds for most of the sail across. And if the model is right, we should arrive just before the bad weather hits. That's the plan anyway. The code 0 is just looking absolutely marvelous. We've got the mainsail out as well. And it is a really calm and cool night. We've had some hot evenings, so it's nice to have this reprieve. The one thing that I also am a little worried about is that, you know, the crew have all been up today in the sun.
I got my new PB.
Toing and froing whether we should be doing this sail. And so we're all a little tired and sunstroked and a little sleepy. So we just had a quick chat with each other to make sure that on this sail we check what we're doing before we do it. We haven't had any injuries so far and we would like to keep it that way so we can have a nice, safe sail to France. It's exciting.
Oh, we're doing well. We're doing 7.4 knots and 15 knots. Probably could be doing a bit better, but
We got everything out, right?
we need to trim the sails a bit.
Also, just in preparation for this little crossing, just put some pasta on so everyone's got pasta. Not everyone was hungry though, so I stuffed my face and the crew have leftovers sitting on the stove ready for when they're hungry. Kel's feeling absolutely pumped with her chocolate mint slice.
Doesn't replace gelati though.
I know, I'm gonna miss all that gelati. Heads up, we've left without having a marina booking in France for our arrival. So essentially we're expecting to be hit with strong winds and we have nowhere to stay. But if we were to stay in Sardinia, we were probably going to be in a worse situation because as you saw last episode, marinas are super expensive and we weren't able to secure anything down there either. So we are now taking this punt and we're on our way to France, crossing our fingers that something becomes available. We called so many marinas up. This is actually a really cool shop. How many marinas do you reckon we called up near Monaco and Nice?
6 or 7.
And they're all full, right?
So far.
Yeah, because there's the storm that's coming through, so everyone's like hankering down.
Yeah. So fingers crossed one
Missed the ride.
opportunity comes up for us to get into a marina. Otherwise we could be anchoring it up somewhere with these strong winds in a bay.
That'll be interesting.
That will be interesting. You can see the coastline in the distance behind us there slowly fading away. So we could be losing phone reception anytime soon. And this is when John starts preparing for all scenarios, thinking ahead.
Can you just fill up some of the empty water bottle containers with water out of the tap?
Why is that?
And as if we lose electrical power, you won't be able to access that water, you won't be able to pump it out of the tanks. You can take the inspection cap off, but they're always really hard to do, and when you're underway and the sea's sloshing around. So.
I thought that was very smart of you to ask me to do that. We have 500 litres in the tanks. About half an hour later, we still had reception, and we... Oh, what just happened?
Just asked me about a booking, and it turns out it's confirmed.
This marina right here in the heart of Menton locked our booking in. For reference, this is where Menton is. It's right next to the Italian border.
Yay! Menton. Woo!
Essentially, we left without knowing if we had a place to go to. We now can sleep easy knowing that we will be able to hunker down when this weather hits us. This was a massive relief. John stayed on the helm all night. I should mention, John is a fairly confident sailor. I mean, we have 4,000 miles or so of experience under our belts now. He's always taken the lead, mostly because I'm editing when we're underway, and I'm more of a provisioner. I'm the laundry minder. I just genuinely enjoy the domesticated jobs, while John is mechanically minded. So we really have always worked to our strengths here. Kelly is also pretty new to sailing. She just recently completed her competent crew course. So John felt a real sense of responsibility on this trip. We're obviously on a brand new boat and we're sailing at night. And tonight, because we're sailing close proximity to the coastline, he decided to stay on the helm for hours. Wow, we are cracking 9.2 here. It is 6 a.m. It's too early for the main and the full head sail. It is a beautiful morning though. Well, we had a pretty successful night. Just a quick little update. John was a machine.
I don't know how.
When he is at that helm and he wants to be at that helm and he wants to make sure that everything's going well, and he literally was at the helm for like...
Tell the stories again.
How do you do it? Looking at the instruments and just sail for that many hours.
And here's something crazy. By midday, the day we're expected to arrive, the wind around 10, 11 o'clock is 40 knots.
We're not going to be able to get to the marina.
No, like later in the morning.
What if the winds come early?
They won't come 12 hours early. Don't think. Supposed to be 6 knots right now. So I'm hoping it's not crazy. If it's like this the whole way, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
The bit that we have to worry about is me trying to park it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Oh, you got this.
I believe in you.
40 knots with a bow thruster and stern thruster, mate. You're fine. Yeah, you're going to get some shut. You're going to get some sleep.
I hope they'll let us in early. They just like, no, midday.
I believe in Menton to give us a home.
Give us a home amongst the gum trees with lots of plum trees.
I'll kick to do a kangaroo, a close around the back. That was my favorite Australian.
And so, with some reception still about as we were hugging the coastline, Kel found the Aussie song online.
Give me a home amongst the gum.
Wow!
That's my favorite part.
That was the most unprecedented moment of this trip. How do you know that song? You're American! And then it was time for Kel to get some shut-eye too. So John had obviously stayed up till late. Kel did the morning shift. And then it was my turn. We decided to do it this way so I could edit throughout the day. And this was my editing station with access to the Ray Marine chart plotter.
Corsica MRSC for a coastal warning gale for the Corsica area. Listen VHF channel 79. 7, 9.
Gale warnings were being broadcast periodically and the grey ominous skies just didn't let up. The winds were pretty calm. In fact, we were actually having to motor sail right here, right now. You can see our flags there on the mast are floppy. We actually ended up putting the main away too because, yeah, the winds were just super fluky and they weren't behaving. And just as it was John's turn to take over the helm, I cleaned up. We try and keep our space as safe as possible and clean as possible. John's putting out the rubbish.
It's hard to know what to do with the sails sometimes, isn't it? The wind's so variable, so fluky. It's so true what they say. Yeah, I said this before in Greece, the MED stands for motoring every day. Even when the forecast looks like you're going to sail the whole day, no.
I know. And as for those grey ominous clouds...
Oh, there's some bad looking weather up ahead.
No, that's not what you said off camera.
Mammatus cloud.
Say it again.
Mammatus. Mammatus.
What does a mammatus cloud look like?
It looks like...
Can you point to it?
Do you really want me to say
Yeah,
it?
show which one.
These ones. See the kind of look...
Many, many years ago, when John was first learning how to become a pilot, one of his modules as part of his CPL was to learn about meteorology. CPL just stands for Commercial Pilot's License. And one of the topics as part of these studies was clouds. And so John can identify all types of clouds.
You have to look up mammatus and you tell me what it means.
It's supposed to look like boobs.
Yeah.
Is that really true?
I didn't say.
Really?
Yeah.
Mammatus. Because it looks like... Wow! Is that true, or did you make that up? Is that a pilot thing? And on that note, it's John's turn to take over the helm and my turn to rest. At this point, we are more than halfway through this 36-hour sail to France. And it's looking like we're going to arrive into Menton tonight. But the problem is, our marina booking is for tomorrow. So depending on if or where we're able to anchor this evening, we may not get much sleep again tonight. I guess we're just going to try and get as much sleep as possible when we're not on shift. And then that way, when we arrive at like midnight tonight, we can try and get at least another 6 hours sleep before these 40-knot winds potentially hit us. I'm just so grateful that we were able to get a spot in a marina. Another thing that's really cool that you may not have noticed is that when you are checking into a marina, it's pretty much just like a hotel. So you obviously make a booking. Some you have to email, some you can do by phone. When you arrive, usually here in Europe, there's always been someone who's in a dinghy that actually guides you to your marina berth, which is really cool. In Australia, we never had that except for one spot, and that was in Hamilton Island, which is actually the most expensive marina that we stayed in Australia. So it's very similar to checking into a hotel, whereby you go to the marina office, you have your passport and your documents, and you pay for the berth for the night. The only thing is that you don't need to check out, really. Well, the ones that we've been to anyway, you just leave, usually at either 11 o'clock or midday. Pretty cool, huh? Well, I'm gonna go and get some shut-eye. Not long to go now, guys. 10 hours away, I think. I'm gonna be so excited to get to France. I'm just pumped. I cannot wait. I think one of my favorite things I'm mostly excited about is exploring the little cities and indulging in French patisseries. It's funny, like the French Riviera, I think, sounds exclusive, right? And to actually be able to experience it on board a French boat, this is like a bucket list. Thanks for being here, and thanks for being part of it, because it gives it so much more meaning and enjoyment to know that you're here experiencing it with us as well. Okay, sweet dreams. Turns out I actually couldn't sleep at all. The Greek in me is gonna open up these bad boys. These are called dolmades. So I had a bite to eat because that's what I love doing on board. I'm not sure if I couldn't sleep because I was excited to arrive into a new country, or that my body clock was just completely out of whack. But to be honest, it was probably because I had an exceptional sleep last night while John spent the majority of the time on the helm. Can you imagine what it would have been like in 4 metre seas?
Oh, I know. It would have been horrible. Not good. We're motoring more than we expected, and the wind is 180 degrees out, which is not good because it's on the nose. But it's better than 4 metre seas and 40 knots, something like that.
He can't stand looking at these windows any longer. He's got a fresh saucepan with fresh water. He treats this boat like his own. getting all that red African dirt off.
We're going to be arriving at night and it could be kind of a bit shitty, so I'm thinking it's best to clean this so that we can see out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
It's hard to see with all the mud and salt and everything on here. So I'm just washing it off with some fresh water. But hopefully that helps.
We're gonna have to take down the Italy flag as well.
Yeah, you can take it down now.
We're just getting prepared as well for the evening by taking down the Code Zero. Just grab some wires. Excited for our arrival, I tried to let off some energy, trying to convince John to dance with me, but he is a tired man with just one thing on his mind.
Now that we've briefed now, so I go to bed.
Okay, you are officially leaving your station. The wind is not doing anything.
All over the place. It's so light. Just motor. If it picks up, you want to put some sails up.
Vision.
I'm gonna go to bed.
All right, good
I might
night.
sleep down there on the couch.
Good night.
Good night.
The pasta I had made earlier was completely demolished by the crew, and so with this calm sea state, I decided to get into some of our fresh veggies, making a salad. So lettuce, tomato, these chilies are absolutely divine on our salads, adding some zing. Added some mushrooms, corn, walnuts for some minerals, adding pretty much just anything I could grab my hands on really. And after a couple of hours of sailing this final leg, everyone was awake for our impending arrival.
I can see land. Can you see the mountains just poking out the top of the clouds?
Now, as soon as we arrive into France, I know I'm going to be so excited to explore, so I'm trying to get on top of as much life admin as possible during this crossing. And this is the view. This has to be the best office in the entire world. With the sun setting, it's 8:30 at night.
Editing the next episode, are you?
Yeah.
How's it coming along?
It's currently 2 hours on the timeline.
Wow, I reckon you should just put it out just like that.
Do you reckon?
Yeah,
I need to put it all in order.
just bang it out.
And a huge thank you to everyone who left us a super thanks in our last episode, and to our new patrons who've recently joined our crew. I am so glad that you're loving our extended cuts. Okay, well, it is pretty late. It's around midnight and we are just arriving, and the swell is ridiculous. There's just no safe anchorage for us tonight. The closest anchorage is like 9 nautical miles away from here. Oh man, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. This right here, there, is our marina. This is the seawall. There are no boats in front of the seawall. Yeah, I know.
You see the light shining in your face.
Well, I'm trying to film. Sean's asking me how can I see if I'm shining the light in my face. Now the camera just doesn't do these onshore waves justice. They were short and they were sharp, and there was no way we were going to get any sleep on a lee shore. Our marina booking isn't until tomorrow either, so we decided to try our luck on a nearby fuel dock. Security came, they weren't overly happy, but they knew we didn't have a choice, and so they let us stay until the break of dawn. So we did manage to get a few hours sleep. Didn't go completely to plan because we ended up on this fuel dock, but we've just called our marina and they're allowing us to go in there early. It's currently around 7:15. So we had tied up at the Port of Menton caravan because it had a fuel dock, but our booking was actually the Old Port of Menton over here. Luckily, they were happy for us to check in early and before those strong winds arrived, so we felt really calm and grateful for their hospitality.
Just here.
Okay.
The next to the blue boat.
Where you are now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's all right. Hey.
Yeah. So just keep an eye on the other boat. We might need adjustments.
Yep. There was also no one next to us on our port side either, so we had a little extra room while reversing in.
Just trying to get the line for us now. Can you see it?
That's nice. Yeah, I got a shot. John navigating us nicely using the bow and stern thrusters. Good morning. Good morning, thank you. Okay, so we arrived, guys, safely and soundly.
Okay.
You did a good job, babe.
Haven't finished yet.
As usual. We're just tying up these bow lines now. He said that we're putting on 2 bow lines because of the strong winds that are coming. Did you hear him?
Yeah.
So John is currently motoring forward as he's putting these lines on. And then we're going to reverse on the boat and then tie up the lines at the stern tighter to keep us solid. Now, if you don't want to wait until next week's episode as we get ready to batten down the hatches, head to our Patreon link where we've uploaded a 1-hour behind the scenes version that you can access right now. Wow. This storm that we're about to experience is supposed to be pretty hectic today. It's arriving in a couple of hours and already you can hear the wind. You can see the other boat owners are getting a little nervous. They're running around and tightening up all their lines and just getting prepared for what is to come. If you'd like to follow us along for the journey, it's completely free to subscribe. We cannot wait to take you into the heart of Menton.
This is wild, guys.
Our crazy adventures to Monaco. This is unbelievable. Holy guacamole. Before we sail along the French coast.
Let's go. Hello, how are you?
This is amazing! They let you in!
Not in yet.